Hey there, I read Jordans and your crack brain is a show episode. Okay, so you know movies, right? They're like plays, but they're recorded with cameras. They're pretty hard to make, and in their ruthless quest for efficiency, characters who are no longer necessary to the plot get discarded like so much trash. Is that why nobody told me we were recording? You are not gonna get rid of me that easily, you friggin' butts! Anyway, the worst thing a movie can do is force you to picture the reality not being shown to you. The moment you imagine the wife of beloved Star Wars character Bongo Lasergood being told that his heroic sacrifice means that she now has to raise their 3 squid babies on her own, these children's movies about virgin space monks start to feel a bit silly. But screenwriters know that poor Bongo doesn't actually have a home to get back to. He was gonna stop existing the moment the movie ended anyway, just like how I phase out of existence when you stop watching YouTube. So please, God, never stop watching YouTube. Once you know this, you'll notice that heroes are killing themselves off at a horrifying rate. Take another famous Star Wars character, Data.
There was a young lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a...
In Nemesis, Captain Picard beams himself over to Tom Hardy's ship of evil to fight Tom man on man, and just like this character approaching old age is famous for not doing, but a plot device breaks the Enterprise's transporters before Picard can be brought back from his Rambo rampage, so Data has to magic himself over there, hand Picard a special one-shot transporter invented just for this scene, and then shoot the ship's glowing weak point until it explodes like he's playing a bad video game. Star Trek has a million ways to solve this problem. They could have transported a bomb. They could have used the transporters on the shuttles. They could have tried other solutions that I won't reveal because I don't want you to know how much Star Trek I've watched. But old Brent didn't want to play Data anymore, and drama demands sacrifice, so they had a character known for his problem-solving abilities and his curiosity about life shrug and say, continuing to exist is overrated. Goodbye. You may also remember this from X2 X-Men Unite to make one of the few good X-Men movies when, after stopping the bad guys from doing bad guy stuff, the X-plane stops working right as a dam bursts and threatens to drown them all. Hey, performance issues happen to everyone. Except Data.
I am programmed in multiple techniques. A broad variety of pleasuring.
Jean Grey sneaks off the jet and uses her incredible psychic powers to hold back the waters while she raises the plane full of her friends to safety. And once they're good, the flood overwhelms her and she drowns. Heroic sacrifice status? Complete. But why couldn't she do all that from the safety of the plane? Was dying less awkward than dumping Cyclops?
How?
Have whatever argument you want about magic mutant powers, but the real answer is that they needed to kill Jean off so they could resurrect her in the terrible, terrible sequel. But Jean didn't know that, so think about this moment from her perspective.
Stay out of my head.
That's a woman in the prime of her life, immediately deciding to off herself without even trying anything else. But movies need blood and sequel teases, so Jean marches to her death like she's popping out to buy Beast a new flea collar. And full circle, no franchise is more obsessed with this than Gene Roddenberry's Star Wars. In Rogue One, Forrest Whitaker decides to give up and take a Death Star laser to the face, and Solo's cautious and pragmatic Val blows herself up the moment she's pinned down by a couple of droids, and after effortlessly slaughtering thousands of stormtroopers, the Mandalorian's Taika Waititi Quitbot turns himself into a suicide bomb to defeat the ultimate challenge, like 5 more stormtroopers. These characters might mutter something about sacrificing themselves for the greater good, but that greater good is the script. There's just no room for them in the adventures that follow, and if you don't show their smoldering corpses, dorks will obsess over whether they might return and reveal that maybe this character actually performed Luke Skywalker's circumcision. No one in Star Wars is allowed to just leave to run a space orphanage in the galaxy they supposedly care about, and so the moment that there's no room for them, they have to go out in a blaze of glory to motivate the other characters. It's fine in isolation, but see it happen often enough, and it's like the official motto of Star Wars is, remember kids, the moment things get tough, you should just give up and die. In Captain Marvel, Marvel introduces Captain Marvel, a captain who's so marvelous that all the other superheroes look like chumps by comparison. And so when Infinity War rolls around and the mighty Thanos moves off the space rock he spent a decade frowning atop, Captain Marvel heroically waits on the sidelines. She's off helping space refugees, which would be a noble cause under literally any other circumstance than a purple Josh Brolin annihilating half the universe. How are those space refugees gonna fare when half of them get sucked into the air conditioning? But she's the only Avenger who could squash Thanos like a bug, and it would be too ironic for a movie titled Infinity War to be resolved in under 2 minutes, so Nick Fury doesn't think to play their trump card until he's mid-disintegration. Quicksilver is hastily written out of Days of Future Past for the exact same reason. We see him incapacitate several armed guards while redirecting their bullets, and it's so little effort for him that he pauses to pick a song, steal a hat, and try a sauce that's flying through the air. Quicksilver can treat reality like a diorama whenever he wants.
Boner.
But he's immediately kicked off the team because Charles doesn't want to endanger him, but for freaking what? Nothing they face would be even the slightest obstacle for Quicksilver.
Boner. Boner. Boner.
Of course, that's the problem. If he stuck around, the big climax would be a scene where Quicksilver makes all the Sentinels blow each other up while he redirects President Nixon's fist into Magneto's penis.
Cock puncher.
I don't think you have the balls.
Dark Phoenix also sidelines him, but no one noticed because only 4 people saw that movie and 5 of them walked out halfway through.
We'll figure everything out together. Just come back to me. Remember, you said you'd always come back to me.
In The Dark Knight Rises, then slips and falls into a decade of bad movies, Bane traps Gotham City's entire police force in the sewers with the same level of guile I used to trick my dog into going to the vet. That's because the first thing any movie about superheroes has to do is find a way to sideline the non-heroic authority figures, since it would just look weird if a wheezing Tom Hardy got arrested halfway through a speech on society's ills. Speaking of reality intervening, movies sometimes have to work around actors leaving the franchise or sadly dying. After Paul Walker's tragic death, The Fate of the Furious alludes to his character Brian when the heroes discuss recruiting him for their latest job, but because he's now a family man, they decide to let him live in peace. That would be a great way to tastefully ride out Brian if the Fast Gang was returning to their roots and stealing VHS players, but their goal in F8 is to stop a supervillain threatening the entire world with nuclear Armageddon. It's kind of hard to enjoy being a family man when that means teaching your children to defend themselves from roving packs of radioactive cannibals. Oh shit! Did I just spoil the plot of Fast 10?
It's been a long day.
Look, I'm not saying that movies should be about heroes effortlessly steamrolling their opposition, but if characters aren't sidelined with subtlety, it gives me a jarring reminder that their world isn't real and that a couple of hours from now, I have to go do that laundry I've been putting off for the past 7 years. If writers can't make their characters busy, sometimes they just suddenly make them stupid. It's called giving them the idiot ball.
I don't think you have the balls.
This is called the idiot ball because it's what characters are given when they suddenly need to become much, much stupider. Take the wildly misleading Baby Driver, which was not the taxi driver set in the Boss Baby universe movie that society just needs right now.
You talking to me?
Instead, Baby Driver features a reprehensible villain, Kevin Spacey, who's playing a guy named Doc, who isn't very nice either.
You don't look happy to see me. Why?
Doc is a criminal mastermind who lives by one rule: never use the same crew twice. Never. Criminals who get to know each other will get on each other's nerves and blow the job, or decide that they don't need Doc working as their middleman. It's the same reason I got rid of Caleb. What? Oh no, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
The one exception is Baby because he's indebted to Doc and his god-tier driving skills are rarer than the ability to wave a gun around and yell about the direction that bags of money need to move. Otherwise, Doc always switches crews, a decision that's kept him alive and on top for years, until the biggest heist of his career, at which point he says, "Yeah, why not throw my entire life away?" Man, Spacey really put himself into this role.
Miss me?
Doc recycles 2 unbalanced Bonnie and Clyde-esque lovers, although he does swap out a violent lunatic who has issues with Baby for a violent lunatic who has issues with Baby, and shockingly, this backfires.
You're smarter than that.
Again, their only job is to hold guns and yell. Doc could find an infinite supply of these people on any number of Facebook groups. This is more than a flawed character making mistakes, because mistakes and flaws are what make a character interesting. If a Bond villain just wanted to shoot Bond instead of cutting him in half with a laser, he wouldn't be a worthy Bond villain in the first place. But this is when the villain suddenly forgets that he even owns a laser and instead tries to defeat his arch rival with a rusty pizza cutter. But it's way more fun to see the heroes be smart than to see the villain suddenly turn stupid.
This cuckoo made me realize my father's life had to end.
And then there's the Night King, because yeah, it's 2021, and I'm talking about Game of Thrones to get algorithm clicks, I hope. But anyway, for almost a decade, the Night King was the face of relentless otherworldly terror. He was quite literally cold and calculating. Mr. King spends years carefully ordering his relentless killing machines around, and he never overextends his army, and at one point he even refuses to fight John because he knows that he has one of those cliched weak points that drains the entire army's batteries the moment he dies. But then, when he's finally on the cusp of total victory, he transforms into the Drama King and personally lumbers forward to attack the only threat to him. It's a huge, pointless risk that he takes seemingly only because he knows that there are cameras on him and he doesn't want to look like a wimp in front of his friends. This abrupt personality change was made so that they could half-assedly wrap up a plot point and then hurry on to half-assedly wrap all the others up. And also just, I know that none of you saw Independence Day Resurgence, but I did, and the Alien Queen does like the exact same thing, so now those 2 hours are justified, right?
I guess so.
Unlike in reality, every person in a movie exists for a reason, Dave. And sometimes that reason is just to suffer a terrible fate just to get the plot moving.
Goodbye, old friend.
Yeah, man, see ya.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we wouldn't have the John Wick movies if that dog hadn't died, so I say the dog had to die. But sometimes movies flub this, and I'm reminded that I'm watching a fake universe driven by the harsh laws of screenwriting. Like Taken, the vastly inferior action trilogy about using a phone to tell people that their days are numbered.
I will find you. And I will you.
In Taken 1, Taken Begins, Mr. Taken isn't on good terms with his ex-wife, Lenore Taken. But after he rescues their 17-year-old daughter from her kidnappers and her anachronistic U2 obsession, Lenore is grateful and there's a hint of reconciliation. And that thread continues in Taken 2, Revenge of the Tooken, where they appear to be on much friendlier terms. Of course, that means that Lenore has to get kidnapped and brutally tortured, but Mr. Taken saves the day. No, I don't know his real name, do you? So then we're on to Taken 3, Hot Take, where Lenore is comfortable enough with Liam Taken to talk about their relationship problems. A bitterly divorced couple being able to talk as friends again is a nice little bit of character development. And then Lenore is immediately killed to give Liam an excuse for another shooting rampage. It creates this bleak, nihilistic world where Liam Neeson is perpetually destined to only know pain and Eastern European gangsters with poor self-preservation instincts.
I told you I would you.
And Lenore exists only to suffer and justify Neeson's angry gun boners. She could have been a ham sandwich someone stole from his work fridge for all the difference his lost Lenore made. His lost Lenore? Freaking suck a butt, whoever wrote Taken, quoth the Raven. Sometimes this is almost comically lazy. In the second episode of Why Don't Falcon and the Winter Soldier Just Kiss Already, the Flag Smashers are trying to escape some bad guys, and doing my best to put aside their stupid name for a moment, one of the Smashers confronts the people coming to get them to buy the rest of the group some time. Heroic! And he uses his super soldier strength to knock a telephone pole across the road, blocking those cars. Smart! And then he follows that up by just staring at them for a moment and then sprinting into their bullets and dying for the cause, so that audience will ask themselves, maybe these are morally complicated frickin' morons? I mean, surely he could have bought more time if he actually, fought them? Or he could have just run away after knocking down the pole or something, but no. No one is allowed to flee to live another day off camera. And God help you if you want to retire to a happy ending. I mean, when you live inside a movie, you serve the movie until the moment you are no longer useful. And then you're expected to drop dead so that even your final gasp pushes the creaky machine just a little bit forward. Wait, are we talking about movies or